I support Roe vs. Wade. Meaning I support females' right to abort. Can't make it any more cut, clear, and dry than that. And while I may have this belief, I'm not going to shove it down anyone's throat. Because females can argue with other females on whether or not, it's okay. Because there'll be Christian females that are like, I don't support abortion. Then you're going to have non-Christians that are like, well, I do support abortion. That's up to you females to go over. Leave me the fuck out of it. I, as usual, have to be the only one that has any sort of unbiased, logical, rational intellectualism to any sort of topic. And of course, education matters in this as well. And it concerns the recently overturned Roe vs. Wade. Now everyone else is going on about, the obvious bullshit that is the overturning of it. But that's not my main focus, because if I'm going to be talking about it, it's just virtue signaling. Abortion shouldn't have been overturned, clear, cut, and dry. That's not what I'm here to talk about. What I'm here to talk about is, of course, females using this as an opportunity to yet again be misandrist, meaning man-hating, attacking males and our character over this topic, using fallacies and running off of pure, unadulterated emotion rather than logic and intellect and education and so on. So, I yet again have to be the one to call them out on it. Destroy their fallacies, destroy their emotional, sensationalistic statements, so on and so forth. So with that said, here we go. And yes, this is pre-written. Since people are ignorant and need to make everything a war and attack on males, misandry personal agendas, from feministically minded females, especially now that Roe versus Wade was overturned, there has to be some reality put out there to counter the ignorance, sensationalism, emotionalism, fallacy, and misandry. So the first statement that I saw upon opening my social media was from a local Traverse City female, which I'll just call her Morgan. And her statement was, women are no longer in control of their bodies because a man said so. This is an obvious attack on the male character, using a mass generalization fallacy, blah, blah, blah. So, let's destroy it. So my response to the first outrageous claim by a stupid Traverse City female is no, a gender did not make this determination, this decision. Did I, as a male, make this decision or take part in this decision? No. Therefore, you cannot specify that all males or that the male gender is at fault for this decision. Because every single male ever would have had to taken part in this decision in order for it to be the male gender's fault. But because not every single male ever took part in this, you cannot claim a specific gender for being the reason why this was overturned. This is a fallacy used by stupid females because they're running off of emotion. They are controlled by their emotion. Controlled by it. Wholly. W-H-O-L-L-Y. Wholly controlled by their emotion. Males are not, as a collective, the problem or the reason. This is what we call a fallacy. And to be explicit on what I'm talking about here is the fallacy of composition, and hasty generalization fallacy. Look them up. Anyway, a group of select, not everyone, just a very few individuals produced this conclusion, which incorporated, by the way, one female, Amy. Look it up. But evidently you won't and don't want to focus on the female that took part in this decision of the select individuals, because you have agendas to go with and go forward with, which is, of course, the agenda of attacking men, misandry, gynocentrism, feministic agenda bullshit. As such, you only want to focus on the males and not the female that took part in that decision of the select individuals, because you have agendas and extremist beliefs and gynocentrism, and obviously are clear as day misandrists. You are no longer in control of your bodies because of politics, not because of males. If you're scrutinizing or looking for someone to hate, then be mad at the Bible-thumping Christians. And if you want to get political about it, Republicans, women and men of the Republican spectrum. They're the ones that are the biggest proponents of this judgment. So, yeah, be mad at the females and the males and the Christians on the Republican side of things. Dumbass. Anyway, moving on to the second outrageous claim that I read from the same female, no less. She then went on to say in another statement in comments of, it's a man's world. So my reply to this is, no, it's not. Have you omitted the Me Too movement? Females have never had more power and reign in this world than ever before in today's world. Gynocentrism and misandry, aka man-hating, have become so normalized that it's spoiled, rotten current-day females that they still think they're victims and they're the ones that are actually out there abusing power all too often. Females, that's right, females are the ones doing that, abusing the power. Luckily, Amber Heard wasn't able to comprehensively get away with it, but there is an abundance of Amber Heards out there. Oh yeah. And they get away with it all too often. It's more of a woman's world than it is a man's world, and that's just factual. You know this when you have females out there saying the truthful fact. Oh yeah, it's a fact. It's truthful. It's honest. It's reality. Of, they won't believe you because you're a man. Amber Heard. But females that say it's a man's world will never accept this because they need to be the victim in every scenario, need to believe this in order to continually press out their misandry and feministic agenda bullshit, or liberal bullshit if you want to get political. The fact you think it's a man's world surely goes to show how ignorant and out of touch you truly are if you still believe this. AKA that it's a man's world. There are so many things catered around females and to females, and so many gynocentric groups and very specific only for females, this and that it's a landslide in favoritism towards females. whether it be shelters and support groups or specialized services specifically only for females. Oh yeah, there's hundreds of those for each, if there are any, for men. For every one thing there is for a male, there's like 100 for females. If there are anything for males in the first place. Yeah. But yet the ignorant and dumb actually somehow think it's a man's world. It's a ludicrous assertion at best. Men did not do this to you. Politics, on the other hand, did do this to you. Of which this political decision was also very, shall we say, religiously motivated. Yeah. More specifically on the Republican spectrum, although I'm sure there are other supporters in the other political beliefs as well, but the majority are of the Republican belief, as this has been their main stance on abortion for a long time. Even more so since they like to establish themselves as the Christian political spectrum. So that was my reply, which I didn't reply directly to her because I know it's a waste of time. They're in their own little fantasy world, so I don't waste my time. That was my Facebook status in response to that bullshit. But to add on to that though, because I just can't help myself, I like to go 100% on everything, so I added in a little bit more. Education, intelligence, emotional discipline, and the lack thereof are certainly on display today. I can easily tell the intelligent and educated who have emotional self-discipline and self-control, and those who clearly do not, such as Morgan there. It's funny how, when under pressure, whether it be a political decision or some event, like mass shooting or whatever, how people react is who they really are in showing their true character and exposing their limitations, such as their limitations in education, their limitations in intellectualism, their limitations in self-control and self-discipline, and discipline in general. Since I serve and have no specific agenda or side, meaning I'm not right or left or even liberal, I'm over there doing my own damn thing in my own belief system, whatever you want to call it, where I bring in the right, the left, the middle, and all their good traits, but none of their bad traits, at least for how I see them as good, bad, and so on and so forth. So, to give you an example, my political beliefs do not stand with liberal, Democrat, or Republican, but I bring out the Republican good stuff as I see it, such as, your Second Amendment rights. Fuck yeah. Guns. Alright, cool. Even though I'm not a gun shooter myself, because I know how to fight, I still support the Second Amendment right to fucking shoot. And own your own guns and shit, right? Alright? So then, on the liberal side of things, I'm an atheist. So, since they are most likely to be atheist, I pull that from the liberal perspective, right? And then Democrat, I approve for fighting for the little guy, right? So small businesses and all that kind of thing. So you get the idea here, right? I pull all the good things out. So anyways, as I was saying, since I have no specific agenda or side, I am able to view things from a perspective that is without emotion or bias, while also making corrections to the blatantly obvious, incorrect, ignorant, and uneducated statements made by those with agendas, and with hateful misandry, and with agendas, and with ignorant, childish, immature mind frames. For me, it's difficult to be a person of emotional stability and an ability to be logical about things when everyone else around me, it seems like at least, appears to be led by and run by, if not wholly, W-H-O-L-L-Y, controlled by their emotions. And so they speak and act out of pure, unadulterated emotion rather than logical intellectualism and education. Oh, does it ever show, by the way, too. It's really sad that emotion has become more valid than facts, reality, and truth. As if it somehow beats education and intellect and logic. You know, the old saying of, just because you're offended doesn't make you right. Well, apparently in today's world, if you're offended, that means you're right, is basically what I'm getting at here. And that's pretty fucked up. And it's just like, no wonder the world has become as disharmonic as it currently is because of that exact sentiment. I'm offended, so that means I'm right. Well, you created this world of disharmony. Now you gotta live with it. But anyways, that was all that I needed to say on this topic. But for clarification, just in case people misconstrue anything I've said, or are extremist feminists that didn't like me calling them out on their emotional bullshit, or whatever the case was, I wanted to make it very clear that when it comes to abortion and what women do with their own body, I could care less. Yeah. You do what you want to do. I don't give a fuck. It's your body, your rules, do whatever the fuck you want with it. If you support abortion, cool. If you don't support abortion, cool. I don't give a shit. That's for you females to figure out, not me.